Hello, everyone, and welcome to the modestly named Mad Mage Master Class. We're going to look at the original module and the companion for Area 1, and we're also going to put in some art or some mid journey art, some AI generated NPCs just to liven up the map and also, our imaginations. Now, I want to read areas 1 to 10 with the companion interspersed. I Yes, thanks for joining me. Let's have at it. As you can see here, my players have already played this level, so I need to reset the explorable darkness. In case you don't know how to do it, I might as well show you. It's over here on the left. So you click on the eye, and then you click on explorable darkness, and then you click reset explorable darkness. Man, it couldn't be simpler. But there's a problem because my players have light sources and they also have vision settings, which are annoying. Like they have night vision, dark vision, which actually creates a bit of a problem because you end up with this faded effect. So I'm going to change their dynamic lighting settings so that they do not have night vision, but they just have bright light. Or actually, I think we need to change the color. Wait, I'm going to figure this out and then I'll come back. Okay, silly me. I just hadn't deployed them on the map yet. All right, now this is area 1. Let's look at what the companion says. Down and down into the mythic depths you descend, while the winch creaks and groans. Adventure awaits, but so too does death. A death that has claimed countless souls, many of them quicker and cleverer than you could ever hope to be. What do you truly hope to find down here? Fame? Fortune? Power? Countless others have too, and this dungeon is their tomb. Your feet touch sand, and the last torchlight of the world above flickers. The distant sound of the yawning portal dwindle The distant sounds of the yawning portal dwindle into thundering silence. Your eyes adjust to the gloom. Shields galore line the walls, all dented, all stained with graffiti. On the wall is a message written in Elvish script, written in blood. The message written in Elvish has been expanded in the companion. Read the following. Beyond the pillars, the Mad Mage waits, peering from behind those arcane gates, ever searching for one of worth and burying all else in the tepid earth. If you're running the Hallister's game variant, add welcome to the show to this message. So presumably you read from the module and then you read this and then you also add welcome to the show. Okay, now I'm going to read from the original material. At the bottom of the yawning portal entry well is a dark 40-foot square room with the following features. The only exit appears to be a tunnel that leads south before bending west. There's also a one-way secret door to the north. Sandy floor. A thin layer of sand covers the floor. Dented, rusty shields adorn the walls, which are also covered with graffiti. A one-way secret door built into the north wall can't be opened from the south without the aid of a knock spell or similar magic. Any character who finds the secret door also notices a 1-inch diameter hole bored through it at a height of 5 feet. On the north side of the secret door, a human bandit quietly listens at the hole for sounds of newcomers descending the shaft. Upon hearing creatures enter the area, the bandit retreats to warn its confederates in areas 6, 8, and 9. Characters in the room can hear the bandit's soft retreating footfalls with a successful DC 20 wisdom perception check. A search of the sand yields some discarded gear: two iron spikes, an empty wineskin, a tinderbox, a pair of pants sized for an adult human, or a random trinket dropped by a frightened adventurer. There's a good chart in the companion for that, by the way, everyone. Excuse me. Shields. 60 old shields hang on the walls. They break apart if disturbed in any way. It occurs to me that I should mention that the player's handbook also has a trinkets table. So there are two tables to use, the player's handbook and the companion. Okay, sorry, back to the shields. 60 old shields hang on the walls and they break apart if disturbed in any way. Written in blood on the wall, concealed behind one of the shields, is the following message in Elvish. Beyond the pillar forest, the Mad Mage waits, casting spells behind magic gates. And then we expand it in the companion as I've shown. All right, then to area 2, 2A. Let's bring our adventurers together. Yeah, okay, I don't like this. Looks like somebody's got a light source. Maybe it's this guy. Let's see. Yep. So I end up just turning off the light sources, unfortunately. Roll 20. Okay, now moving on here. So here we have some bugbears that are sneaking around. I don't have them represented here because my players have already played here. I can quickly put them in. Area 2, Hall of Many Pillars. At the west end of a 20-foot wide hall, Area 2A, stairs descend 10 feet to a room lined with pillars, Area 2B. Similar staircases descend into the room from 10-foot wide tunnels leading north, west, and south. North, west, and south. 2A, Demon Reliefs. Every 10-foot section of wall has a 9-foot high, 4-foot wide, 3-inch deep, door shaped recess containing a bas relief carving of a demon. Each demon depicts a different kind of each relief depicts a different kind of demon. Skeleton. A Kenku skeleton lies on the floor, one of its thin arms pointing towards a bas relief of an Alfishni demon on the south wall. Alistair artfully placed the skeleton here to help adventurers find the secret door to Area 3, so it should be here. The carvings on the north wall of Area 2A depict from east to west a Balor, a Balgura, a Chasmi, a Dredge, a Glabrezu, a Gristro, and a Hizro. The carvings on the south wall depict from west to east a Marilith, a Nalfeshni, a Quasit, a Shadow Demon, a Vrock, and a Yoklol. The recessed wall that contains the Nalfeshni carving has a secret door leading to Area 3, which, between you and me as a DM, is a horror show of a room. The recessed wall that contains the dredge carving has another secret door which leads to Area 4. Here. The dredge carving has half-inch spy holes for eyes. These holes are detected when the secret door is found. Area 2B. Two bugbears hide behind pillars. Each bugbear is host to an intellect devourer in its skull cavity. Side note to the DM, intellect devourers are extremely deadly monsters. If you play them as written, they jump out when their host is killed and immediately attack. They don't wait for their turn on initiative. They go immediately and attack. And most characters have low intelligence, so they often fail their save. And then that's it. Then their brain gets eaten by this intellect devourer. So At least they're stunned, and then yeah, their intelligence is 0, and they can't play for a week. If you look at um, Tasha's new rules, then you'll see that you can recover any like, ability score bonuses can be recovered over a week of nothing but rest. And that happened to one of my players. That happened to two of my players. And that effectively kills your character because you have to play a new one, otherwise you can't play anymore. And then your other character is now 2 levels lower than everybody else. So of course the DM can be nice, but it's just like, yeah, it's just too much. It's too much of a stretch of the imagination to think that okay, now this character's been out of the game for a week, but he's still leveled up somehow. Like even I'm very very liberal with letting players level up if they don't show up. They still keep level with the party and stuff. But like even I cannot go that far. Anyway, all right, moving on. So just be careful when they fight fight these intellect devourers. Players are gonna die. I mean, characters are gonna die, and you um, have to make sure everybody's got a backup character. Make absolutely sure everybody's got a backup character because they're not going to believe you, and then they're not going to make one, and then they're going to be upset when the character dies on day one. That happens to at least one of my players, and they got upset. Okay, now area 2B. The skeleton of a giant constrictor snake coils up to the top half of the northernmost pillar. The snake skeleton is harmless and falls apart if disturbed, clattering loudly as it hits the floor. Warning. The words certain death this way are carved in common on the southeast wall, with an arrow pointing towards the southern exit. So here. The bugbears detect the approach of adventurers with the aid of the intellect devourers detect sentience trait and therefore can't be surprised. As intruders approach their location, the bugbears withdraw down the southern tunnel and circle around to warn the goblinoids in Area 23 of intruders. That's over here. I will put the goblinoids back when we get to that area. But yes, so this is basically a huge den of goblinoids, bugbears and goblins, and these are their outside warning system. So they're not going to engage the party. When the bugbear drops to 0 hit points, the intellect devourer in its skull teleports out to seek a new host. The bugbears know the perils of the western tunnel in Area 21 and avoid it. The characters whose passive wisdom perception score equal or exceeds the bugbear's dexterity stealth checks notice the hiding or fleeing bugbears. Let them notice them, but let them get away. Tell them that it's you can chase them, but it's reckless to chase enemies into unexplored map areas where you haven't searched for traps or anything. So let them just escape down the tunnel, and the players continue cautiously, with it under advisement to just keep keep checking for traps. Don't rush into an ambush or anything. And then you let these guys get away. Otherwise, the players are going to have an early encounter with Intellect Devourer, which is very unpleasant. Inspection of the southernmost pillar reveals a loose stone in its base. Behind the stone is an empty compartment, its contents discovered and plundered long ago. Okay, let's go take a look at Area 3, which, in my opinion, is a bit of a horror show and a bit of a waste of time and a bit of just leaves a bad taste in the mouth. But they put it in, and there it is, and hopefully your players don't even notice it, or maybe they just make quick work of it. But yeah, it's usually a long, painful process for the players to accept that the room is a dead end. Okay. A secret door opens to reveal an empty 10-foot square cubicle with a 5-foot wide tunnel of rough-hewn stone leading away from it. The tunnel descends slightly until it reaches a room that smells like a sewer. The room contains the following features. floor of the room tilts. Its west end is 6 feet lower than its east end. Foul sewer water covers the floor, barely reaching the east wall but deepening by 1 foot for every 10 feet of travel westward. A wide alcove in the north wall contains a life-size statue of a Sahuagin, submerged up to its chest in sewer water. The statue emits a dim purple radiance. Its head is completely turned around, and one of its arms has broken off and is nowhere to be seen. A psychic gray ooze lurks beneath the murky water north of the statue. It's invisible while underwater. The ooze uses its psychic crush action option. See the variant psychic gray ooze sidebar in the ooze's entry in the master manual to attack anyone who approaches the statue. Statue. The purple aura around the Sahuagin statue is harmless, and casting a dispel magic on the statue removes it. The statue's arm broke off long ago and rests now against the west wall, concealed beneath the dark water. The statue's head is hollow with holes for eyes and a larger hole for its fanged mouth. Further inspection reveals the head has screw threads and is removable. Previous adventurers managed to unscrew it halfway before being scared off by the gray ooze. The unscrewing and removing the head exposes a hidden charred compartment in the statue's neck. The compartment contains melted wax from candles that were used to illuminate the statue's head like a jack-o'-lantern. The water seeps through cracks in the ceiling above, drips down the walls, and accumulates in the west end of the room before slowly leaking out through smaller cracks in the floor. The water is tepid and not fit for drinking unless a purify food and drink spell is cast on it. Yes, so let me just tell you, personally, I hated this room, and so did my players. And I frankly, would rather skip it. I would say, just tell your players that this tunnel is collapsed. Because, for heaven's sake, you know how hard how optimistic they are. Now they're playing this new dungeon for the first time, and they found a secret door, and yay, there's a new room, but sweet Lord above, there's just nothing going on. Nothing going on in this room, and it's a sewer. They're basically in poop water, and they're getting brain attacked by this gray ooze, and there isn't even treasure to find. So even no matter how good the decisions are that they make in that room, it's going to be awful in the end. And they're going to have stinky boots. That's the best case scenario. If they somehow kill the gray ooze, how do you even kill a gray ooze? It's under the water in the dark. Invisible. And for what? You won't get anything. So, I'm done ranting now. Let's go to Area 4. With sword in hand, an unadorned wooden armor an unadorned wooden armor stand rests in the middle of the room, with a faintly glowing long sword stabbed into it. At the base of the stand lie the skeletal remains of a hand, amid stains of dried blood. Echoes of distant voices occasionally fill the room, emanating from 10-inch long, 5-inch wide vents in the ceiling. See echoes below. A secret door leading south is obvious from the side. No ability check required. It has 2 eye holes bored into it at a height of 5 feet, allowing a creature to peer into Area 2A beyond. Let's move our players into Area 4. All right. Now, the longsword is easily removed from the armor, requiring no ability check. A detect magic spell reveals that the sword is magical. It sheds dim light in a 10-foot radius. It also carries a curse that prevents its wielder from dropping it. If the blade is pried from its wielder's grasp, it instantly teleports back into the wielder's hand. The curse can be ended by casting a remove curse spell or using similar magic on the sword's wielder, or by chopping off the hand that holds the weapon. The skeletal hand on the floor belonged to the orc who last held the sword. So if somebody does some kind of investigation check on the skeletal hand, you can tell them it's an orc's hand. That's a pretty cool detail. Okay, now echoes from the vent shafts above in the ceiling. These passages carry voices from Waterdeep, but the sound is distorted so badly that words at one end can't be discerned by creatures at the other end. These vent shafts in the ceiling connect to shop cellars in the city above. If the grills that cover the vent shafts are pried loose, a tiny or gaseous creature could crawl through a shaft to escape Undermountain. So it's like as small as a cat. That's the tiny. Diminutive is like a mouse, um, or a big beetle. But tiny is like a cat. Okay, moving on to Area 5, which is, oh boy, Area 5. Oh, it's on this side here. Okay, it's the Grell hideout. Now let's move our players over there. Oopsie. That sword encounter, by the way, is also a huge pain in the butt. Um, you might consider just not making it a cursed sword, or maybe it was a cursed sword and the curse is worn off. So now the player just has a glowing sword that used to be cursed. Because it's just time consuming. You know, the problem with this with the problem with Dungeons and Mad Mage is it takes forever. So you want to cut this. You want to cut the stuff that aren't awesome, you know, or at least hard for a purpose. Like if you have years and years to play the campaign, it doesn't matter. But you don't. We are going to spend years and years on it, but not more years than we have to. Years. Okay. So here we have a Grell nest. Let's read about that. Area 5. At the end of a long hall is a 50-foot square room with 5 pillars made of mortared humanoid bones painted black. 2 grells float in separate alcoves to the north and the east. The floors of the alcoves are littered with the gnawed bones of past meals, mostly goblins and gricks. The deep alcoves and black pillars provide cover for the grells. As the players move into the room, they can spot one or both grells by succeeding a wisdom perception check contested by the monster's dexterity stealth checks. The grells are hungry and eagerly pursue fleeing prey. They have no treasure. That's a fine encounter. It's a little bit of a fight with easy monsters, and there's no treasure there. You might just leave a couple of copper pieces in the, you know, among the remains of the goblinoids or the humanoids. Okay, Area 6, here we go. I'm enjoying this. I have a lot of experience to look back on here. And now I'm not making videos in advance, I'm making videos retroactively. So I've actually played these levels and I have a lot of my own opinions and editing to do. Okay, now unfortunately, all of these, the Undertakers are not in the right place. Anyway, I'll read about them in the companion first. Here toils a gang of failed thespians that now extort adventurers on their way through Undermountain. Them's the breaks. As failed actors and singers, the Undertakers take to their new roles with gusto. They really ham it up. Every successful extortion, every adventurer sent running is worth 1,000 reviews from Waterdavian critics and broadsheets. I just want to interject one more time here. Basically, what I'm saying is the players start here, right? So you want them to move through here and through here as fast as they can. They're likely to go, they're likely to follow the goblins, and they're likely to go through the Hall of Mirrors. You know, each of these three are more interesting than this and this. You know, Area 3 and Area 4, you just want to basically fast forward through those areas. Area 2A as well. It's cool to read the list of the demons and the devils. That's it. And then just get them in here as fast as possible. Get them into this area as fast as possible so they can make a choice. and then you can move them to some actual substantial encounters. You don't want to spend 2 hours, which is what it ends up being sometimes. 2 hours discussing and debating how to solve the sword is stuck to my hand problem and the oh no, there's an invisible thing psychically attacking us in the poop water. So you just rush to here and then let them choose one of these directions and get things moving because you don't want to spend any time on rooms where there isn't a substantial payoff or at least an interesting problem. Okay, now we're back. Sorry about that. I'm going to ramble. I do not have a script. I just had a lot of experience and desire to share. Here we go. 6A. However, theirs is a life of desperation, these being the Undertakers. Many fear the law's wrath that might come should they surface. Some may have even fallen prey to weave addiction. See Alistair's game. All right, then further on from the companion, we have the following. As dwellers of the deep, the Undertakers would kill literally for any of the comforts of the world above. Fresh fruit, clean clothes, lamp oil, reading material, new bedding, and the like. Every so often, they send the doppelgangers up to the surface to shop for these materials, who take on new appearances each time so none of the yawning portal patrons know that they belong to the gang of thieves that extort adventurers. If the adventurers have any of these things, they might find that they can barter with the Undertakers, or that these vampires have a keen obsession with something so mundane. I've now uploaded some mid-journey art of the bandits. I love this so much. It's from D and Dumber on Reddit. Um, yeah, it makes a campaign really come to life. Look at these guys. This is what I've decided to make Uktal and Haria look like. These are the only named NPCs. And here's some more bandits and doppelgangers. It really brings it to life, you know. Try to picture it, but then you can see it. It makes it much nicer. Okay. 6A, continuing. Halt, rumbles a voice from the dark. Torchlight sputters in the chamber, silhouetting 9 figures. Yellow fangs gleam with red grime. You stand in the dreaded crypts of Countess Haria herself, and our master shall have her due. You cattle, choose now, gold or blood, lest you be damned like us. The voice belongs to Uktarl. He's learned that having an unseen countess, Haria Valashtar, is far more frightening than presenting himself as the vampire lord and instead acts as her envoy. Despite the two lovers' recent falling out, Uktarl gives the performance his all. Several of the bandits are dressed in rags. Carefully applied makeup paints them as walking corpses, vampire spawn. If questioned, they pretend to be fallen victims of the countess, now enslaved to her will for all eternity. Okay, let's read from the original module. Several members of the Undertaker's gang dwell here in their vampire disguises. If the bandit keeping an eye on Area 1 through the secret door retreats here with news of the adventurer's arrival, add that individual to the forces arrayed here. 1 bandit captain, 6 bandits, and 2 doppelgangers. Once alerted, these forces gather in Area 6A and wait for the adventurers to arrive so they can extort money from them. Standing atop stone plinths in the middle of the room, this is Area 6A, facing east are 3 6-foot-tall statues depicting male Waterdeepian nobles clad in decorative plate armor. Lying at the base of the central statue are the bones of a long-dead hobgoblin and a white wooden staff broken in half. Carved into the stone base of each statue is a name: Elendron, south statue, Rauthendar, central statue, and Othul Onthalas, north statue. These statues have been crossed out with chalk. These names have been crossed out with chalk. Beneath them New names have been added in Goblin, Smelly Bottom, Stupid Skull, and Born Toothless, respectively. A detect magic spell reveals the faintest lingering trace of magic within both fragments of the staff. The staff can be repaired with a mending cantrip. The first time the intact staff is held, it wails, "Help! Thief! Criminal!" before its magic fades forever. If the wailing occurs here, the creatures in Area 6B and 6C hear the noise and come to investigate. 6B. Piled up against the west side of the secret door, undetectable from the east side, is a stack of old ceramic plates that fall and break when the door is opened, alerting any bandits in Area 6A, 6C, and 6D. So yeah, over here. If the players come through here, then they alert the whole dungeon at once. Okay, then we have 6C is Oktarl's room. Unless they have been encountered elsewhere, 4 members of the Undertakers sit around a decrepit wooden table near the door. Uktarl, Crannock, 2 human bandits, and a doppelganger, all disguised as vampires. They play cards using a marked deck that Uktarl carries around, and each has a stack of coins on the table. The entire northern wall is one large stone fresco depicting a rugged mountain, hollowed out with caverns containing tiny sculpted figures of dwarves. Behind the mountain, carved rays of brilliant sunlight fan out to the edges of the wall. Beneath the mountain fresco, carved into the floor, is a large recessed stone tub 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 2 feet deep. Uktrall lies and cheats for fun, and he's quick to blame others for his failings as a leader. If he takes damage or sees any of his underlings slaughtered, cowardice compels him to retreat to Area 7, which is up here. The others flee to Area 8 and team up with any bandits remaining there. So if just one of them dies, they all run. The character who inspects the stone fresco and succeeds on a DC 13 Wisdom Perception check discovers that one of the tiny dwarf figures is the top of a stone key slotted into a cavity that hides its teeth. The key is easily removed from the fresco and unlocks the stone box in Area 14B. The bandits are unaware of the key's presence. Uktarl keeps his bedroll inside the stone tub, along with a set of thieves' tools and enough stolen gear to create 1 explorer's pack. On the table are stacks of coins totaling 220 copper pieces, 91 silver pieces, and 85 gold pieces, as well as a silver ring, 25 gold pieces, engraved with dwarven symbols commonly associated with fertility and sexual potency. 6D, sleeping quarters, over here. 8 bedrolls are spread out on the floor. 2 battered and rusty oil lanterns, also on the floor, light the chamber. Unless they're encountered elsewhere, 4 human bandits sleep in their bedrolls. The doppelganger sits on another bedroll, keeping watch. Each bandit carries 1d6 gold pieces in a pouch. The doppelganger has no interest in treasure and carries nothing of value. Area 7. These chambers once served as a true vampire's lair. The Undertakers use the crypt to hide from the dungeon denizens they can't rob or kill. Characters who find the secret door leading to this area notice a 1-inch diameter hole bored through it a few inches above the floor. This hole allowed the ancient vampire to enter and leave its lair in mist form. 7A. Hall of Retreat. If they are forced to retreat to this hall, Uktarl and Haria make their final stand here, still blaming each other for their failures. This hall has the following features. 12 empty bedrolls lie on the dusty floor. Faded frescoes cover the walls depicting villagers and farmers being terrorized by a giant bat. Crypt 7B. This area contains a cobweb-draped wooden coffin resting on a 2-foot-high block of greenstone. The coffin is intact and has an obvious 1-inch diameter hole bored into its foot panel. The coffin's lid is unlocked. A thin layer of grave dirt inside the coffin has been flattened down, suggesting that a creature once slept here. A vial of holy water rests atop the dirt. The coffin is otherwise empty. 8. Bandit Headquarters. Area 8, Bandit Headquarters. Dominating the area is a stone hall, Area 8A. Side chambers, Area 8B and 8C, serve as a base for members of the Undertakers who investigate loud noises in the throne hall. Area 8A, Hall of the Bone Throne. In the middle of the room lie the bones, skull, rotted leather wing flaps, and stinger of a wyvern, intermingled with shards of clear glass. At the south end of the 70-foot-high vaulted room, marble steps form a dais upon which stands a large, high-backed throne made of interwoven bleached bones. Each of the throne's bone armrests is carved to resemble a fanged snake. Empty torch brackets made of fluted, discolored bronze protrude from the walls. Alistair trapped the wyvern in a floating crystal sphere and left it here as a guardian, but adventurers released and slew the creature long ago. The wyvern's remains lie alongside the fragments of its crystalline prison. The throne is impervious to all damage. Its velvet seat cushion serves as the hinged lid of an empty, hidden compartment. Whatever treasure the compartment once held was stolen by adventurers long ago. The throne's serpent armrests magically animate and bite anyone who sits on the throne or raises the seat's lid. Each snake makes a single melee attack, 8+8 to hit, and deals 3 1d4+1 piercing damage on a hit. Any creature bitten by a snake must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw, taking 24 poison damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. After each snake makes one attack, the armrests revert to their inanimate state until triggered again. 8B, Haria's room. Unless awakened by loud noises, Haria Valashtar sleeps on a cot against the south wall. She is disguised as a vampire but doesn't wear her fangs while sleeping. A flesh golem under Haria's control stands guard in the middle of the room. Other furnishings include a lit lantern which rests atop a wooden trunk painted with pictures of clowns, a frayed circular rug, and a folding wooden privacy screen. The trunk is unlocked and contains a disguise kit, as well as a small selection of theater costumes and props. Haria is a greedy, treacherous, and vindictive young woman who considers herself the world's most underrated actress and singer. She isn't able to control a golem once it goes berserk, and she retreats to Area 7 if things turn bleak. 8C, Masters of Disguise. Sitting in chairs around a long stone table are 5 human bandits and a doppelganger, disguised to look like a 6th human vampire. 2 glowing oil lanterns hang from chains above the table. On the table are 3 disguise kits and 3 backpacks. Each backpack is stuffed with 11 days of rations. Posing as vampires, the bandits and the doppelganger try to extort money from passing adventurers. If that doesn't work, they attack until it becomes clear they're outmatched, whereupon they flee to Area 6 in search of reinforcements. Each bandit carries 1d6 gold pieces in a pouch. The doppelganger has a similar pouch, plus a tiger eye gemstone, 10 gold pieces, tucked into its boot. Area 9. Plundered Halls. This corner of the dungeon sees little traffic, though other adventurers have plundered it in the past. Pillared Way, 9A. That's over here. 6 pillars, pockmarked with tiny indentations, stretch the length of the hall. The indentations held gemstones, which were stolen long ago. An alcove in the northwest corner contains a rusty pile of armor, the remains of a suit of animated armor that was destroyed years ago by adventurers. 9B is there's a rotted corpse. The maggot-ridden corpse of a dead human lies face down on the floor next to a discarded scimitar, a light crossbow, and a money pouch. During a battle to rid Area 12 of giant spiders, the Undertakers lost one of their own. They left his body here to rot. A successful DC 10 Wisdom Medicine check reveals that the bandit died from spider bites and the ensuing poison. The bandit's leather armor is punched full of holes, but its weapons are intact. The money pouch is empty. Right, so for this area, I put in some carrion crawlers. I think they might be in area 12 anyway. Let's see. I'll recall soon. Okay, area 10 is all the way down here. Cubicle of Skulls. Now from the companion, we have some supplement. You come upon a stone door. Engraved into the lintel is a message that reads, "Contestants." Contestants refers to the countless fools that found themselves trapped in Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Once the door is opened, skulls tumble out and add the following description. The room teems with skulls, some scorched, some nicked, some with cobwebs of rotting flesh, comb-overs of rotting flesh, but all underneath a frayed banner that reads, "Welcome guests." Yes, and that's just like the module as well. Skulls tumble into the hall when the door to this 10-foot square room is pulled open. The entire room is filled to the ceiling with skulls of dead adventurers and other humanoids who crossed Hallister. Thousands of skulls have accumulated here. They're harmless, but if a bit macabre. The cubicle contains nothing else. Area 11, Room of Secrets. Ooh, okay. That'll be for our next video. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I'm very happy you joined us, and here's our standard outro. Please join us again next time for areas 11 to 20.
We hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our new videos to level up your campaign. Special thanks to Wyatt Troll for writing his amazing companion, available at dmsguild.com, which this video is based on. We strongly recommend getting the complete edition. We couldn't imagine running any of the campaign without it.